Welcome to Keepin' It Real, your go-to radio show for fresh insights and vibrant introductions. Get ready to dive into a world where we offer you the latest in real estate wisdom and the juiciest community tidbits. From expert advice courtesy of top realtors to opportunities to give back through local charities, we've got you covered. Plus, we'll shine a spotlight on the young athletes driving our local sports scene and uncover the buzzworthy happenings both in town and beyond. Stay tuned for a jam-packed hour of enlightenment and entertainment right here on Keepin' It Real.
What's in a name? Everything. Long Realty has been a cornerstone of Southern Arizona's real estate market for nearly 100 years. Our name is our bond, and our agents are our strength. Trust in the name that stands for experience and expertise. Visit longrealty.com or call 520-459-4993 to connect with an agent today. Long Realty. Smart move.
In a town with heart and history, the Sherry Ethell Team is the key. Serving service that we agree for military law and retirees. Stress-free process you will see. Personal care is our guarantee. Real integrity, real results. The Sherry Ethell Team, we never halt. Real experts here to guide your way, making dreams come true every single day. Trust a team that knows just what to do. The Sherry Ethell Team, working for you. Real integrity, real results. The Sherry Ethell Team is your one and only call.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Keepin' It Real radio show, brought to you by the Sherry Ethell Team at Long Realty Studios. I'm Dion Ethell. I will be your host. And today I've got a whole crowd in here because I've got the CoolFM Live Nerd Corner here. And maybe you guys can introduce yourselves. We'll just start over here and kind of go around the room.
All right then. Hi everyone. My name is Lydia Laws. I am the content specialist for the Nerd Corner, and I've been working here for about a month now.
My name is Jason Warwick. I'm the executive producer for the CoolFM Nerd Corner, and I've been working a little bit longer than Lydia, just over a month.
And I'm Johnny Tackitt, the head manager of CoolFM Nerd Corner. The idea about this I would say it was like 3 or 4 months, and but we've officially been hitting it hard for like the past month and a half so far.
Okay, so I got Lydia, Jason, and Johnny here in the studio, and again, we're talking Nerd Corner, and you guys are kind of new at this, and like you said, it was just kind of your brainchild, thought of this idea. How did that come up? How did you even think about that? What drove you to that point, really?
Well, I've been a huge nerd and gamer and content creator since I was able to hold a controller since I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I've always just wanted to do more with video games or video game nerdy, geeky culture. Yeah. I just always wanted to do more with it. And this is the outlet. You know, there's more than just playing a game. There's more than just watching movies. There's more than just creating content and everything like that. It's just, I've always had this itch. Yeah. And I've tried it before so many times, but the platform wasn't there. The timing wasn't right. I was in college. I was working 3 jobs, so on and so forth. I mean,
life got in the way a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you're kind of living your dream a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
And then Todd called me one day and he was like, hey, I want you on the team to do video production stuff. And I pitched him the idea to doing a nerd channel because there's so much untapped potential here in Cochise County.
There's really not a lot of things to do here, right? In terms of just that culture. And so we've got a few gaming stores here in town. And of course, you know, gaming online is huge and there's opportunities for all kinds of stuff there. But it's kind of behind the scenes in a lot of ways. To most people, you just don't see it as you know, out there anymore. And but there's definitely culture. I mean, it's huge. It's gigantic. In fact, I was so shocked. You know, we've had a number of people on the show before. We've talked to some of the owners of some of the gaming stores here in town. And I was shocked at how many, even just for card games, you know, so if you're looking at Magic or Pokemon or something, and how many thousands of cards they had on hand at any given day. And I was just like shocked how much that really was. I was like, oh, wow. Just really surprised that there was that big of a draw here. So you guys are tapping into that already, right? You're already developing kind of a following, aren't you?
Yeah, in a little over a month, we just passed, I think, 560 followers, which is awesome and incredible. And I wasn't expecting to grow this fast in such a short amount of time. And I have to hand it to my 2 assistants as well. Wouldn't be here without them.
Right.
And it's absolutely incredible. Like, I kind of threw some ideas out there to begin with, and I was just like, this idea is not working, this idea is not working. I'm like, well, I kind of need like 2 assistants. And that's when Jason just graduated from college, and he was like, hey, like, I'm willing to help whenever, wherever. And then we were covering an event in town
for CoolFM,
for the nerd
cool.
channel, yeah. Okay. And then that's where we met Lydia, and she kicked a lot of butt at a Super Smash Brothers tournament, and she just had her talent already on display right in front of us. And I was like, ooh, maybe we should we'll pitch a little idea to Lydia and see if she wants to join the team too. And so,
I like it.
Yeah.
So let's flip over to you, Jason, since he was kind of referring to you a little bit and talking about, so you just graduated from college. What did you get a degree in? What did you graduate from?
I have 2 degrees. I have an associate's in journalism, and I have a bachelor's in digital audiences.
Wow.
And
so what is that, digital audiences, what does that kind of really follow?
It's kind of just a mosh pot of doing digital content, marketing, podcasting, audio work, editing work, just a giant mosh pot to be able to do things like, well, this, like example, your show here.
Right.
Learning how to do things like this on a professional scale. And then the marketing side was, figuring out how to reach the digital audience, so to speak, and get things out there, ride the waves of the algorithm, and so on and so forth.
I love it. And, actually, that's kind of how we stumbled upon you guys is, obviously working with the radio station every single week, we definitely talk to our partners, and we were discussing about, I lost my person who was handling some of my social media and some of my digital content for YouTube and everything. And I was a little bit, I guess it's just hard when you've got all these other things that you're doing, and then it's almost like another job added onto it to do all those things. And so you look for somebody, hey, who can pick up this slack and build a cover this. And that's how I kind of connected with you guys. Mm-hmm. And already liking the fact that I've connected up with some people with some background, some education, and some following. So, Lydia, let's flip over to you a little bit. Tell me about, he was talking about how you guys met and everything, and tell me about yourself and what you, how you got into this culture.
So I am a military brat, which means my dad has been in the military, so I've been all over the country. I moved here to Sierra Vista last November, and so I was just kind of going around trying to find more communities around here, since beforehand I lived in Oklahoma and was fairly isolated. So I went over to Rage Quit, and the owner there, Rambo, said, hey, we're doing this tournament later. Do you want to join in? And I was like, oh my goodness, I've never participated in a tournament before.
But you played the game.
I have like 5,000 hours in that game.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah,
so you're pretty much an expert.
I started playing in when I was 16. I'm 20 now. And whenever I had free time, I would just be playing Super Smash Brothers, like all the time.
So those people who are listening right now, and they're like, I have no idea what they're talking about. What is that? What's to describe the game a little bit? And what platform is it on?
So Super Smash Brothers is specifically a Nintendo product. Mm-hmm. So you can only play it on Nintendo platforms. It is a specific subtype of fighting game. So not quite your Street Fighter types. It's called a platform fighter. So instead, there's not a lot of special inputs. You're just running around with these big video game characters, your Marios, your Luigis, Bayonettas for Jokers, things like that. Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
And are you playing with one other person, or are you playing, is it a multiplayer game?
So in tournament settings, it is a 1v1. The game itself was built up to be for more casual audiences, so you can have like up to 8 players at once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's just like a lot of fun. It can be either a party game or a game you take really, really seriously. So I started out playing it as a party game, doing kind of whatever I wanted, and have been moving over to more competitive things as I kept playing it, until one day I participated in my first tournament over at Rage Quit, And I ended up winning the whole thing. I didn't actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I didn't actually end up dropping a single game.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, congratulations on that. Yeah. So you won your tournament and everything. Now, with this game, is this the only game you're playing, or you're into a lot of different games, different platforms? What are you into?
I'm into other games, not a ton of other games, though. Like my favorite game is Persona 5 for the PlayStation. It's on all platforms now, but it's originally PlayStation exclusive. Things like Nier Automata, things like Guilty Gear, another fighting game. Things like Baldur's Gate, a computer game that's also on other platforms. And also, I got some older games, like I own a Nintendo 64 and things like that. And I'd actually play the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on a tube TV on an N64, which is a really cool experience.
It's so funny to listen to you guys talk and everything, because I remember when we got an N64 for my kids and everything, and of course that's many, many, many generations later than my years. When we were, I would say I was probably in high school when Atari came out, and we were like, oh my God. Adventure, and you're just a little block with a sword, and you're running around, in this dungeon, and it was just so amazing. Or Missile Command, and it's just like, going across the screen, and it's just really blocky, kind of like Minecraft, and just really abrupt looking. But we thought it was amazing. And then, of course, when Asteroids and other kinds of games, and Pac-Man and all those kinds of things came out, then it was even more incredible. But I remember those first early days, and so it's funny that when you bring up like N64, I was thinking, yeah, that was so advanced compared to most of the stuff that we saw when we were young. So yeah, it's interesting. And now with the gaming, it's just getting bigger and bigger, and there's huge money into this, isn't there? I mean, just gigantic money. I remember, obviously there's some popular games out there like Grand Theft Auto, and Grand Theft Auto, I think Grand Theft Auto 6 is still keeps getting pushed back, but amazing graphics, huge, interface, a whole world, can be playing on this platform. You can play with multiple other characters, and it's very, very good graphics, and just, a lot of different aspects to that game. And it's just interesting how we've evolved to that. What do you think the next thing is?
Well, you can never predict it, right? The two biggest games in the world right now, like you said, Grand Theft Auto, and then it's Minecraft. So everything between.
Actually, I kind of rediscovered Minecraft. My grandson was playing it, and I was like, oh, that's that blocky game, right? And then as we got building, then you can kind of get down the rabbit hole. And I was like, oh, this is kind of relaxing. I could build a castle, and I could do other things. And then pretty soon you're buying all the add-ons, and you can do all these other things with it now. And so my brother and I play quite a bit, just as nerdy as that sounds. But it's just kind of relaxing, and we mostly just build stuff in creative mode. We're not really playing the game as much, which drives my kids crazy, because they're like, you're not turning on anything like monsters and other stuff? And I'm like, no, I just want to build stuff. It's like Legos for adults or something, So, and then every once in a while, my grandson will join, and then you'll have this gigantic Pokemon sitting right by your castle that he'll build right beside you. And he's quite good at it, but yeah, it's different. But that's kind of the thing, is there's so many aspects, and it's what's interesting is the age groups. You mentioned like the Grand Theft Auto 5, and I remember when before everybody moved to Sierra Vista, my family, my brother, and my mom and my dad and everybody, oftentimes we would get on the headset and play video games, because it's like you could talk for hours, and it's the only place where you could get all together and still be in the same room kind of talking and doing fun stuff and just chatting it up and everything, because we were all over the country most of the time. And it was kind of interesting. Some of my friends, too, who lived in other states would get online. And do you guys find that as part of the aspect, that community kind of thing? The ability to hang out with your friends on a different system or whatever? What do you guys think?
When it comes to really any media or any thing in the world, example, football, basketball, tennis, video games, art, community adds so much to it, being able to connect with other people that also like the thing that you like, because humans are social creatures by nature.
Yeah.
And being able to find middle ground with other people that are into the same thing as you are enhances it in a way that no other thing can.
Wow. All right, guys, that's probably a good place for a break. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back to it. Let's talk more about that community subject when we come back. We'll be right back, folks, with Keepin' It Real.
Discover excellence in real estate with the Sherry Ethell Team at Long Realty, your premier choice in Cochise County. Sherry's amazing team brings honesty, expertise, and a deep understanding of the local market. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned homeowner, they're committed to your peace of mind and handle every detail for you.
Their approach? Personalized service, above and beyond transactional real estate, building lifelong relationships, nationwide connections, local expertise. There's a reason this team is amongst the top realtors in Arizona and across the nation.
You owe it to yourself to call or visit the Sherry Ethell Team, the top team at Long Realty, behind Denny's on Fry Boulevard in Sierra Vista. Call or text 717-599-2439 or Google us for more info. Real integrity, real results.
All right, welcome back to Keeping It Real, brought to you by the Sherry Ethell Team right here at Long Realty Studios, right behind Denny's on Fry Boulevard, here for all your real estate needs. But today we are talking about, I don't know, gaming, nerd culture, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. And we're with three wonderful guests here from CoolFM. They're part of the, you call yourself the Nerd Corner? Is
yes,
that right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And you have like maybe you can take a minute before we kind of get back into our conversation about, gaming and culture and community and just tell me a little bit about how do people find you? You were talking about followers. Is this on Facebook? Is this on what?
Yes, this is on Facebook primarily, but we are cross-posting into other platforms like Instagram and YouTube, and we go live on Twitch every so often when we're testing stuff. We're still kind of playing with that. But I like to call ourselves the corner of gaming, geeky, and nerdy in Cochise County and beyond.
Okay.
So that's kind of like our tagline that we're rolling with now. It could use some work maybe here and there, but I mean, like, that's what we have for now.
So it's okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. So we were talking a little bit about, community. And I think, Jason, you'd mentioned it before, talking about how it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're playing sports and you're into that or you're into, art or you're into gaming or something like that. It's the people, the human connection that actually gives a whole new level to that platform, right?
Yeah, for example, way back in the early 2000s, even before that, video game consoles had the concept of, plug in the second controller and you can have a guy play as Luigi.
Right.
Later on, we get to the early 2000s with the original Xbox, and suddenly there's this really novelty concept called Xbox Live coming out where you can connect to the internet and you can play with people from the other side of the world and play Halo with them. And suddenly you have this monthly subscription that you're paying for that you have to have because you have to play with your friend over in, Texas or even the United Kingdom and all that, or anywhere in the world. And you're just able to now. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Yeah, it's suddenly global. And I remember the first time I was playing with somebody, I want to say they were from Italy or something, and I was thinking, and we were playing Diablo actually, but I was really kind of shocked, the fact that I'm just sitting here in my room playing this game with somebody else across the world in a different time zone, and it's the middle of the night for him, and it's totally different time for me, but we're having this conversation and getting ready to go down into the next level, and it's just it was kind of interesting that there was that thing, and now it's even bigger, and there's so much, I guess, more depth to every game. And you can't, I have a hard time keeping up with, cause I don't play very often, but my friends and I, we still get on every once in a while and we'll play, Red Dead Redemption or something, and get out there and be cowboys and riding our horse and go out there and go hunting or whatever, or we'll go out there and face off with some other bad guys, but half the time too you're just trying to play the game and there's this thing called grieving and people will come over there and just start killing you and you're like, really, what the heck? And it turns out they're 3 12-year-olds in somewhere else in the country, and they're just really good at it, and they just come in and wipe out all of us 50 60-year-olds and just smoke us right there. So it's kind of interesting that that there's like pieces, elements of that. Because there's some people who just, that's all they do, is they just go on the platform to go wipe everybody out. Call of Duty, you know, I've got other friends who are a little bit younger than I am, but they're probably in their, 40s, and, some of them even 30s, and they're playing that all the time, and they're constantly just out there as a group, just to go out there and annihilate somebody else. And that's their whole mission, Crazy that there's that kind of thing. Do you guys enjoy that part of it? There's so much, different things going on.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up not being able to keep up with stuff. Like, even us being so involved in the nerdy and geeky culture, we still can't keep up with it. Like, I think we missed like Neo 3 the other week when that came out, and we wanted to cover that. We're just so busy doing so much other stuff. Like, it just passed right by us.
Super fast, moving. And it's not going to slow down, right? What do you guys think of the introduction of AI into, various elements of our technology? Do you see that becoming a real big thing in the gaming industry?
Jason, I'll let you.
So when it comes to artificial intelligence, there's a variety of ways that it can be used. It can be used from anything such as we taught it to do this monotonous thing that we do like 1,000 times a day, and we need it to do it like automatically so that, we can have James do something else over there.
Right.
Or it can be used to generate entire swaths of something as long as it's been trained correctly and has the data to be able to do it. You can get more extreme with it, where we've seen AI be able to replicate the mannerisms and voice of famous actors and such and such. But we've also, seen like the less so positive side of that, where it's like, you walk up to someone, they go, "Hello, my name is Jack," and and it's not so high quality. It's entirely possible for AI to become a more and more mainstream, more and more used, and more like relied upon. It just depends on how people use it, if they put effort into it and not just, think it's a cure-all, essentially.
Yeah.
You get what you put in, essentially.
That's very true. And we use it a lot. In the beginning, it was checks and balances, right? So you could be writing a letter, you could be writing, doing some marketing, and it could analyze that. And if you get enough data, and data points and whatnot, then it can kind of analyze what you predict your productivity is going to be with this specific thing that you're using. And it's kind of interesting, too, and that it can really speed up your work, like you were talking about. If you've got a lot of data crunching to go on, it might take you hours and hours, even if you had all of that material there. But it can search the entire internet and pull up all the open source information and pull into, your marketplace and help you do an enhancement to your already good market analysis for us, for housing or something like that. Or if you want to be able to do just about anything. And now I see that spilling over into other things. And we started at something very simple, but now it's starting to kind of pick up steam, and it's almost getting pretty normal. In fact, if you go to one of the social media platforms, darn near every reel, it seems like is like questionable. Like, is that AI? Yeah. It just seems like it's a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think, Lydia?
So specifically for AI in gaming, I am actually fairly nervous about this.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest things for me in gaming that I like the most is the human element and the human stories that goes into it. Because like, think of art like paintings and whatnot, stuff like that. We care about paintings generally so much more when we know the story behind it, when we know there's a person behind it. For video games, the things like art direction, that came from like a human being who thought of that and thought, I want to build a world like this. When AI does it, it's more, these are all the different things I grab from most popular games, and we're just going to put that out, and that's going to be our art direction. It's kind of like a collage of everything that already exists on the internet. So
that's interesting.
It doesn't necessarily make new things, which is why I am nervous about human beings losing positions writing dialogue and art directions and things like that and experiences.
Yeah.
So I think it can be used in smaller ways, like at the beginning of development, trying to help tweak things. Maybe for like random NPCs that don't really matter, they can have like random generated dialogue, things like that. But generally, I am nervous for seeing specifically the larger companies, your Nintendos, your PlayStations, whatnot,
Right.
trying to take out human beings from the development process. But that does also give another rise to other things, that there's a lot of people who thinks similar to, like, I didn't just think all this myself. These are all things you can see floating around,
Right.
different ideas you'll see on the internet. And so because of that, there's a lot of people going to indie games. And so smaller creators are able to make larger and larger and more elaborate games with just like a group of a few people. As you can really see that vision of just a few people create something, a really nice and concise package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to end up, you know, at least for the gaming industry, for the nerdy side here, you know, when we're talking about all these different various platforms, I wonder if the volume of games, being that, like you said, you know, you could have a small group of people, you can write code with AI, you can do all kinds of things. A lot of the heavy lift stuff you can actually do now, utilizing that effort. And so I wonder if that's going to speed up, you know, kind of like you were talking about, oh man, we missed it already. This one got released and now this one got released. I wonder if we're going to start seeing this like kind of upward slope of some of that. What do you guys think?
There's actually something I'd be hopeful for. With the mainstream games, those can be like appealing to the largest audiences possible.
Yeah.
For these indie games, I would love it if, as they got easier and cheaper to make, which means they don't need as big audiences to be profitable, they can be more concise to more specific groups of audiences. Because I think the more broad you try to make art, like think films and things like that, the less appeal you get because you have to like water down the original artist's vision. So I'm hoping is mainstream games, I don't think we're going to be seeing like a major output of them, like a major increase. I think there's going to be an increase, just not a huge one.
Yeah.
For the indie games specifically, which we don't need to cover all the indie games, right? Only the ones that got.
But you think
super
that's going to be
popular.
like a cult following kind of thing? These little indie games and stuff, like all that stuff?
We already see that with some games, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would be hopeful for that. Simply that more artists can make the games they want to make, and more consumers can find games that speak to them specifically.
I think the tough part, honestly, and just talking about it with you, and it's fun having this brainstorming, you know, is just money. You know, money gets involved. You look at, I mean, we mentioned before Grand Theft Auto, a big game, obviously, billions of dollars. I mean, actually billions of dollars made. And some of that is just off of people buying the, you know, digital credit card, so to speak, so that you can buy more stuff in the game. And people just spending, I know people who've spent thousands of dollars, you know, in a video game, just to be able to have the yacht, the super yacht, the mansion, the cool cars, and all kinds of things. So you just cha-ching, cha-ching. And I'm sure with that money, that drives a lot of that stuff. I hope it doesn't drive some of the little guys from doing, like you were talking about, Lydia, the artistic perspective, the kind of the cool thing that gets a real specific niche of people.
And that is something I'm kind of nervous about for bigger games. You'll see back in like early 2000s, 90s, you buy a game, you have the full game. Nowadays, you buy a game, and then to get the full package, you have to buy different DLCs and things on top of that. And if you want
all day
bonus
long.
content. So the games themselves, the price you buy it at the game store, that's not the full price
It's a
of the
fraction.
game. Yeah, you still have so much more to pay for that. But there's where I'm excited in indie games. A huge game called Silksong came out recently. Like, it crashed multiple online markets like Steam and whatnot because so many people were buying it at once that the actual systems crashed. So this was an indie game made by a small group of people. And when you bought the game, you got all of it for like $20. And they're coming out with a new DLC, and that DLC is for free just because they
Really?
can. Yeah.
Free.
So these smaller creators,
I wonder
when they
why they
have the
do
time-
that.
mostly because they, for the love of the art, not for the money. Because when you are able to make this art, don't have to think as a person doesn't have to think a corporation. A corporation has to think, okay, we need DLCs and we need battle passes because we need our game to be profitable. And if it's not profitable, we can't make the next game, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So corporations have to think
That's interesting.
in a money-making way. Smaller developers that make indie games, they don't have to do that. And some choose not to.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Well, folks, we're going to take a quick break from our conversation over nerd culture and gaming and all kinds of things, and we're going to come back to it on Keepin' It Real, brought to you by Sherry Ethell and the team right here at Long Realty. We'll be right back, folks. Welcome to an exciting new chapter in real estate marketing with the Sherry Ethell Team at Long Realty. We're thrilled to introduce our groundbreaking radio campaign that's set to virtually transform how homes are sold in our community.
Are you looking to sell your home? Imagine your listing highlighted as not just a home of the week, but receiving continuous, exclusive attention on the airwaves until it sells. That's right. Every single Sherry Ethell Team Long Realty listing will now be featured regularly, ensuring maximum exposure to maximize your speed of sale.
Here's how it works. Each week, we'll spotlight all of our current listings in individual, engaging, and detailed 30-second radio ads. Whether you're selling a cozy starter home, a luxurious estate, or anything in between, your property will be heard by thousands of potential buyers in our local area. This innovative approach guarantees that your home remains top of mind for listeners until the perfect buyer comes along.
Why choose the Sherry Ethell Team at Long Realty? Because we're committed to delivering unparalleled service with a personal touch. Our new radio campaign will be just one more way we help reduce the stress of selling your home by giving it the visibility it deserves. We understand that selling a home can be a daunting process, but with your tailored marketing campaign and this kind of presence, it'll be easier and more efficient than ever.
Tune in to Canyon Country 97.7 to hear about the latest listings on our new program we're calling our Home Spotlight Series. Or catch the Keepin' It Real radio show every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. for the latest on real estate tips from the experts, weekend open houses, awesome charity opportunities, great happenings in our community, and wonderful interviews with youth sports coaches and athletes.
So don't miss out on this unique opportunity to have your home featured in our exclusive radio campaign. List with Sherry Ethell Team Long Realty today and experience the magic of real estate marketing like never before.
For more information, give us a call at 717-599-2439. Sherry Ethell Team Long Realty, behind Denny's on Fry Boulevard right here in Sierra Vista, where your home story is told until it's sold. Remember, with us, it's not just about selling houses. We make success stories for a living. Stay tuned, stay informed, and let's help you find your perfect home. All right, welcome back to Keepin' It Real. It's Dion Ethell with the Sherry Ethell Team at Long Realty Studios, and we're keeping it real, talking about a variety of subjects, kind of all involving kind of what we're calling the nerd culture a little bit. We've got the Nerd Corner from CoolFM Live here, and we're all talking about various things from gaming. Let's flip the script a little bit. We talked a little bit about AI. Let's kind of go old school. Let's talk about what's the oldest game that you guys have played recently, say in the last year. Tell me what kind of a game is that? I'm just curious.
I guess I'll start. I recently played Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Punch Out. Okay.
From
video game.
Yeah, video game. It essentially is it's a boxing game where
Is that like an EA Sports thing or something?
No, it's from Nintendo actually.
Nintendo, okay.
And it's from all the way back during the NES times and such and such.
Wow.
And you are just this 5'9" boxer, little Mac, and to give you an idea of how just short you are, all your opponents are 6'10".
Yeah.
And you basically are just punching your way throughout all these opponents, trying to win the championship belt.
Yeah, okay.
And you're studying their patterns, slowly developing your pattern recognition skills and such and such. And one of the cooler fun facts about that is people speed run it, getting through as fast as possible, and people have managed to do so blindfolded.
Wow.
So
no kidding.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. Well, how about you guys? Lydia?
So for me, the oldest game would be Majora's Mask for the N64. I was trying to go back into playing old games because I could not actually play a lot of video games until I was 16 and got my own job working at Sonic.
Yeah.
Beforehand, we just had a Wii. So I played things like Legend of Twilight Princess and Mario Kart, things like that. When I turned 16, I just went straight into a bunch of gaming for old games. I bought an SNES, a N64, things like that. And so recently I was like, hey, I've never played Majora's Mask before, which is a really huge game. So I just booted that up and played through it and had a really good time with it. You
guys like playing the retro games a little bit?
Yeah, I like going there every now and then, kind of taking a break from some of the bigger games. And it's hey, let's play an old classic.
Yeah. How about you?
So recently, I'm a huge Pokemon fan.
Yeah.
I have it stamped,
I can
tattooed
see it.
on my arm.
Big tattoo of Pokemon on the.
So once a year I play through the first 3 Pokemon games. So Pokemon Red, Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Ruby. It's just something that I love to do once a year. So I was
And
playing.
for those people who don't know, this is a card game.
Well, it's the video game. Yeah, the actual video game. So I was playing Pokemon Crystal a little bit ago, and there's just something about that game that just does not age for me. Well, I mean, like some of the mechanics are dated, but I'm like just playing through that just brings me back to the time because that was my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Crystal, and so it just brings me back. And like it's for me, it's like infinitely replayable. Of course, I play it every single year. Sure. And you collect different Pokemon as you adventure through your quests, and you could collect a whole entire different set of Pokemon every time you play it. And it's just infinitely replayable for me. And at least once a year, I also play Super Mario 64, because that was my first video game that I ever played when I was like 3 or 4 years old. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, I don't care. This is awesome. Like, what is a video game? And Mario 64... it like shows you what a video game is, and Lydia mentioned Majora's Mask. And the Zelda games show you what video games can be, and so like that's a perfect kind of balance to me, at least.
Yeah, you guys all talked about video games. Do any of you play any card games or anything like that?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
So we play Pokemon card games.
Yeah.
Like just I think it was a week ago, right? That Sweets and Heats had their Pokemon tournament that both Johnny and I participated in. Which I think they're doing another one like 2 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I literally have a deck of Pokemon cards I'm about to unwrap in my car that Johnny and I are going to like unwrap together later because we are so much into this.
And for people who are listening here who have no idea what we're talking about a little bit of, so like a Pokemon card, and my grandson is totally into Pokemon now. And of course his parents were into Pokemon and big Pokemon fans. And it's this card game that you can play. You unwrap a pack, and it could have some really cool cards in it. It could have some not cool cards in it. You know, maybe stuff that you already have. Right? You just build these decks full of really awesome cards, and some people collect them, just like for the collector factor. And what else? What's the draw?
You could also. Well, you could collect, you could play, you could buy, sell, trade them. And
yeah,
like,
it's true.
It's a whole nother language to it. The Pokemon Company releases a new set, they call them, once every 2 months or once every like month and a half. And so as soon as you're trying to collect one, you turn the corner and you're like, oh, here's another set to collect for.
And there's different kinds too. There's hologram cards. There's all kinds of special cards that are different. You got some of the old classic cards and stuff that are harder to find, especially in good condition. You can even have them rated, and you can send them back off to get, I don't know what they call that. Is it graded? And and so I know that my kids have done that before with made some serious money. Some of these cards are very expensive. I mean, they could be hundreds, if not over $1,000 for a card, if for the right card. Some of them are worth $1, might not be worth anything hardly, but there's other cards that are very valuable. And what makes them valuable?
Well, it depends on the pull rates. It depends the artist. It depends limited supply. So pull rate and limited supply are they're tied together. So pull rate is if you bought 10 packs, maybe a rare card, you find one. And then rare or supply is the actual company not making enough. So it makes it even rarer to buy those cards. They only
had 100 cards or whatever.
And sometimes I don't want to say they do that on purpose, but like,
of course,
you don't know how popular a set is going to be. Sometimes you can predict it, sometimes you can't. It just all depends on. I mean, I would love to lift up the carpet and like look at all that dust that's like piling in that business, but it's just like it's kind of more fun just being a fan. It's just I mean, like we also cover it too, so we're doing it on a professional level as well. So there's also that passion, but it's. To answer your question, like pull rate, artist, what kind of set, what kind of Pokemon it is. Yeah. There's like this whole algorithm
I know my grandson
to it.
Gets so excited about, you got a Pikachu, for example, you got, which is one of the characters on the game, and you got different variations of him, and what do they call that?
Some of them are called illustrated arts. There's like a whole different tier.
But you even have like different like
full arts and
I can't even think of what that might be. It's kind of like one's like like a different power level, you know, like like you get really up to this crazy flaming, you know, Charmander or whatever.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
evolution.
Evolutions,
Yeah,
that's the word I was looking for. See, I don't know the nerd culture anymore very well, but
that's okay.
But I'm learning all the time. My grandson's always teaching me some of this stuff, even for stuff that I guess I didn't pay it a lot of attention when my kids were younger, even though they played some of that stuff. It's not until recently, and it got super, super popular. I mean, you can even go around. My son, who's in his 30s, was over at the house the other day, and he's like, I'm trying to get this Pokemon over here. And I was like, what? and then we were, you know, at somebody else's house, and one of the other guys was like, no, there's no Pokemon anywhere near here. And I was like, what are you doing on your phone? And so that's the whole thing. You can play this in many different platforms and ways.
Yeah, it's incredible how far the reach is. As soon as we think Pokemon peaks, they just like release something else, and you're just like, well, we didn't think about that. Like, it's no longer different genres now, it's like different subgenres now. It's just like, because we play the card game as well, and there is already an app for the official card game, and then they made a card game just for the collectibles, and it's just like, oh my goodness,
hard to keep up. But that's kind of nice in some ways, kind of going back to Lydia's comment, you know, because you have like people who like playing these little niches and things, and so for some groups it might be really fun for that piece of it, whereas others, you know, getting into the video game aspect of it, some of them are getting into something else, the collection piece of it, you know, so it just has a lot of application to different people. You know, everybody's a little bit different, and you may actually be a collector and a video game player and a, you know, collector or game player for the cards themselves, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Do you ever play any, like, and I won't use the word normal, but like old school games? Like, I mean, does anybody ever play like cards or anything like that? Or is it just like, nah, that's too like boring?
Well, I would say that normal cards, like playing cards, I'm like, I don't think so here. No? Like, you'll just go to the casino for that, I guess. Like, you know.
That's kind of interesting. Yeah. Because there's a lot of different kinds. I mean, we play a number of different kinds of card games that I grew up playing. You know, it's funny, back in my day, and people who are listening, you can relate to this, who are a little bit older, right? There weren't that many different manufacturers of things, right? So a lot of people, you'll look at pictures of like the 60s and 70s and stuff, and you'll see they've got the same thing hanging on their wall as somebody else in that same era. And that's because they didn't make any other kinds of those things. And so a lot of the furniture, a lot of the artwork, a lot of the things that you had in your house were very, very similar. Everybody had Tupperware, you know, you just had those things. And so there weren't a lot of different kinds of games. I can remember when I got into high school, and we were probably, well, no, even before that, maybe middle school, you know, 70s came around, Dungeons and Dragons came out, you had some new kinds of gaming, and everything was just emerging, really. Video games weren't much of a thing. I mean, it was still Pong and some of that stuff, but it was kind of getting more. You got Atari came out. I think that really changed the game a lot. And then you had a lot of computer games. You know, Apple IIe came out, and some, you know, the TRS-80 and whatnot for Radio Shack at the time. And so those things came out, and that changed the world again. But in the beginning, there, again, weren't very many choices. So you learned all these different card games. And you can play a gazillion different kinds of games with just a deck of cards. So I would encourage you to go back and try to explore some of that, because it's kind of fun. But it is interesting with these different cards, you know, that you can collect and do all kinds of things. I am learning a lot about them. And but there's just so many. You kind of almost have to, like, it's almost consuming, you know, when you're looking at all of them up on a wall. You can even go to Target or something. You're like, no idea what all these games are, you know. But it's, and a game store is even crazier, because then you've got like individual cards. This one's $30. This one's $50. This one's $5. And I have no idea what that is. That better? That $50 one? Maybe it doesn't mean anything. It's just it's a real collector, like a rare card kind of thing. So, yeah, it's tough for the newcomer to kind of get into some of those things.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, because a $1 card could be a really good card in the actual playing the Pokemon card game, And then like $1,000 card could just be like, okay, this card's not good.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
It's a whole wide range, and you can be the opposite too.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought some Pokemon cards for my grandson, and I like to buy local, so I went around to different card places and bought some cards at everybody, but I really always have to go back to the internet and kind of look around and see, this is even, I have no idea whether this is worth it. Some of them I buy honestly from just the aesthetic value. You know, I look at that and oh, he's going to like that. That's cool looking. But some of it's not. And so you know, and I don't know that he's really super heavy into the playing of cards and everything. He's more into the collector and just what each one can do and stuff and the different varieties of each one. But very, very big into that culture and has been since birth just about. So let's take a quick break. We'll come right back to it. Let's talk more about technology played a role in your life. We'll be right back, folks, with Keepin' It Real.
We're the real wayfinders, the trailblazers, the go-getters. In a town where the desert wakes before dawn, we don't just talk, we make things happen. And when we speak, it's real, it's genuine, and it's worth hearing. Tune in every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on Canyon Country 97.7 FM. Join the Sherry Ethell Team for Keepin' It Real, where top realtors, local heroes, and the heartbeat of our community come together. Raw, authentic conversations, expert market insights, and the best local events you can't afford to miss. Keepin' It Real, celebrating our community. Bold, genuine, one of a kind.
Do uneasy markets have you waiting for the ideal? Call or text 717-599-2439 or Google us for more information. Real integrity, real results.
All right, welcome back to Keeping It Real, brought to you by the Sherry Ethell Team right here at Long Realty Studios. We're with Lydia, Jason, and Johnny here in the studio, and again, we're talking Nerd Corner, and it's interesting that you kind of brought that up too, is, you know, since you were really young, that technology played a role in your life. Is that the same true for all of you, where technology was just like there? Because technology wasn't there for me. I mean, we played outside. Everybody's probably laughing as they're driving a car right now and just going, yeah, I mean, we went out and played in the dirt, you know, and got some sticks and played swords or something, you know, or you know, played a bunch of games out in the woods and stuff. And so it was a different era. And now with video games, you know, it's opened up a whole new world. Like you said, Jason, I think you were talking about just the world is literally at your feet. You know, you've got a whole community. And how cool is that in some ways?
It's kind of crazy because, like, once upon a time when you were, like, you know, a kid and you didn't have access to many of the things that you did, you would either go to school and people would see you doing the thing that you like and go, oh, that's dumb, you're a nerd, you're this, you're that, get away from us. Or maybe you'll meet someone who likes it.
Yeah.
And we've evolved from that to where now, no matter what your situation is, what you do, like as a hobby and such, the odds of you finding someone that you can connect with has amplified tenfold, and that's like a beautiful thing.
That's a great point. I like that. So there's a lot of you, no matter what you are, there's a lot of you out there because now you have access to the entire world. I like that. That's kind of an interesting way to look at it, and in a positive sense, right? So, and I know we don't have a ton of time left, but I kind of want to talk about what are some of the downfalls that you guys have run into? Just talking from the nerd culture and everything. I mean, I look at it from my perspective as somebody who's just about ready to turn 60 years old, right? And born in the 60s. And so I look at the kids playing out there, and nobody goes outside, and nobody has that interaction there, that physical interaction. A lot of stuff online, a lot of stuff, tied to the phone, tied to the tablet. My grandson knew how to hack his tablet so he could get into it and bypass the parental controls like when he was 4. So amazing, because you grow up with it. I mean, it's just, he was, into it from the beginning. Does that have any negative things for you guys? What do you guys, maybe you don't see it because you're so close to it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So I do think that upcoming generations are going to be different from the first ones beforehand, but I do think it's going to just kind of become its own thing. Like, I grew up in a generation where all kids had iPads. Like, I was in elementary school back in 2014, right? Yeah. And most people my age just seem relatively fine. I think there are some things to be concerned about. I don't think it's going to be a super big deal for how our society works.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's a positive way to think about it. What do you guys think, Jason?
When it comes to more negative and downside aspects of, our big technological age that's only becoming more and more age,
yeah,
it does kind of bring the sad truth that while it can bring out the best in people and allow people to connect, it can also bring out the worst in people, because a lot of us are able to, put a name in front of our face, be completely anonymous, and
correct.
That kind of lifts a barrier, a social barrier off of us, to where sometimes we'll say things that we wouldn't normally say even within the comfort of our own home. And we might hurt people in ways that we wouldn't even normally conceive of if we were worried about, our face and actual name being tied to it. And
right.
That's kind of like a pitfall that's kind of occurred with this whole, digital age and such.
Right. What do you think, Johnny?
So one of my, the worst days doing this job is still better than the best days of my previous jobs, but I just really struggled keeping up with a bunch of stuff. We mentioned this at the top of the show.
Yeah.
It's ironic that the more we cover stuff, the less time we actually have time to playing stuff and watching movies and playing more card games. I wasn't even going to think about playing or doing any card games until Lydia was like, hey, I bought some new Pokemon cards. Let's see if we can make a video of it. And I was like, oh, heck yeah, let's go to Rising Sun Games and we'll do something there. And so I'm always just on work mode. And then I work from home as well, and so kind of bleeds together, and I'm just man, I really wanted to play Neo 3. I really wanted to play this game that just came out, and we have to put it on our calendar, hey, this game is coming out this week, we have to focus on this game, or else we'll forget it. We'll have to remind ourselves multiple times a day. And I'm letting Jason borrow my PS5 because the new Resident Evil game comes out this week, and if we have to keep on reminding ourselves, and I forgot to give it to him today, so on our way back home I'm going to pick it up from my house and I'll let him borrow it so he'll have it ready to go.
Stuff when it's it suddenly bleeds into your professional life, and it becomes your life, part of it. You don't get to have as much fun with some of the little nuances and aspects of it. Well, guys, it's been great hearing from you. And folks, we're going to experiment with this a little bit with the CoolFM team and bring them on from time to time. We're even going to turn the studio maybe loose on it with you guys and have you interview some people yourselves and talking about this aspect of our culture, because I think it's important for us. We have a lot of different student athletes and other things on the show, but we don't really talk about the other aspects of life with our youth and how this is so cross-oriented between, you think about it, I was an early nerd, and I'm almost 60, and I still play an occasional video game, and I still get on there with my grandson and play, Minecraft, or my brother who's 50-something, and we still do that. I had my 85-year-old dad was often playing on my my sister-in-law's console so that we could talk back and forth, and he kind of enjoyed it, playing GTA 5. Of course, he was always his my sister-in-law's character, so it was a little bit odd hearing my dad's voice and looking at some girl running around, shooting everybody. But it was fun to do, and it was a way for us all to connect, a family to kind of come back together. So it was kind of a different aspect. But I appreciate you guys coming on the show, and I hope we'll hear more of you.
Thank you so much.
Genuinely appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, this has been awesome.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. This has been Keeping It Real, brought to you by Sherry Ethell and the team right here at Long Realty Studios. We're right behind Denny's on Fry Boulevard. Come on down and say hello and see us. And if you got an idea for the show, come steer us into it. We'll be right back, folks, with a few more messages and a little something from Sherry Ethell, the team CEO. We'll be right back.
Tax time is here, but before you spend your refund, consider real estate with the Sherry Ethell team at Long Realty. It's a great way to move from renter to homeowner and on the road to building wealth.
Hi, I'm Sherry Ethell, Realtor and Team CEO of the Sherry Ethell team at Long Realty. Think of me as your guide to all things real estate. I tailor my approach to your needs and, most importantly, your goals. It's time to come see me and get a plan for your success.
Discover excellence in real estate with the Sherry Ethell team at Long Realty, your premier choice in Cochise County. Visit Sherry at Long Realty behind Denny's on Fry Boulevard in Sierra Vista. Call or text 717-599-2439 or Google us for more information. Real integrity, real results.
Well, folks, that's a wrap on this week's Keepin' It Real radio show. As always, we're so grateful to have you spend part of your Saturday morning with us. Whether you're sipping coffee on the porch, out running errands, or out shopping for a home, we appreciate you. If something we said today sparked a question, or if you've got a great topic or guest idea for a future episode, we'd love to hear it. You can drop your suggestion in the Keepin' It Real suggestion box at the front desk of Long Realty, right behind Denny's on Fry Boulevard. Or just shoot me an email at sherry@sherryethelteam.com or call or text me anytime at 717-599-2439. We love hearing from you. It helps us keep this show real, relevant, and rooted in our Cochise County community. We'll be back next Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. right here on 97.7 Canyon Country, your first choice for legendary country.
Until then, stay safe, stay kind, and as always, keep it real, Cochise County.
What's in a name? Everything. Long Realty has been a cornerstone of Southern Arizona's real estate market for nearly 100 years. Our name is our bond, and our agents are our strength. Trust in the name that stands for experience and expertise. Visit longrealty.com or call 520-459-4993 to connect with an agent today. Long Realty. Smart move. What's in a name? Everything. Long Realty has been a cornerstone of Southern Arizona's real estate market for nearly 100 years. Our name is our bond, and our agents are our strength. Trust in the name that stands for experience and expertise. Visit longrealty.com or call 520-459-4993 to connect with an agent today. Long Realty. Smart move.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Keepin' It Real radio show. Join us next Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. for more engaging interviews with top realtors and industry leaders, keeping you informed about the latest trends in real estate. Stay connected with us as we bring you updates on the dynamic events shaping our vibrant community. From exciting local happenings to noteworthy charities and causes, we've got you covered. See you next week for another edition of Keepin' It Real.